Oh my god. Not working. I keep pressing. Okay, so my shoulder's not working, so I'm just gonna have to keep pressing. Hey YouTubers, this is Dominique from DLM Journey. I'm doing a quick video on what nursing school did not warn me about. Don't get me wrong, I love my nursing school, but I think we were just focused on passing lecture, making sure we do right in clinicals, and we completely forgot to talk about what everyday nursing is like. You know, with clinicals, you get a glimpse of it. Shadowing a nurse every day, seeing what their struggles is like, but there's nothing really like experiencing what it is until you step out on the floor. I also figured I wanted to give you guys an update of what my nursing life is like right now. I think since my last video, I got promoted into becoming a RN supervisor, and I love it. I love the staff that I work with. I love my coworkers. I love the unit that I'm on. Again, I'm in a medical surgical unit, so my experiences during this article is strictly on medical surgical units, so medicine units. Before I get started though, I would just want to take the time out to promote my blog. I do have a blog where I write about all these articles that are helpful. It's under www.dlmjourney.com, and I decided to do this video specifically because when I looked up my analytics, it was one of the top 3 articles that you guys are reading about, so figured, hey, might as well watch it, right? So let's get started, shall we? So number 1, nursing is physically demanding. So us nurses think that we have the best hours. We have 12-hour shifts and we work 3 days a week and then 4 days off, thinking that we got it the best. Let's face the fact that 12 hours can easily turn into 15-hour shifts. You also have to talk about our commute and depending on how the day goes. On a medical surgical unit, we are also dealing with our patient ratio of having 5 patients in the hopes of that we are fully staffed, and sometimes we have 6 patients. Now we are also hoping that our staff assignment is in fact divided into acuity, meaning like how heavy the patient is, but sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes 4 out of 5 our patients our workload is total max assist. They can't move and they need help with everything, unfortunately. So it really does take a toll on our body as nurses. And so most of the nurses are on your feet 12 hours literally the whole time. Don't get to eat at a reasonable hour. Unfortunately, I do know some nurses that don't eat at all, and you're just expected to perform 12 hours at a good condition every day. So number 2, nursing is mentally draining. The biggest things is nursing is that you are continuously critically thinking for the safety of your patients, so your mind is doing nothing but thinking about the patient. Now, as the bedside nurse, you are continuously thinking about your medications and if they're right for the patient. This means you are making sure that you are complying with the 5 patient rights to medication administration. You are assuming that you are giving the right medication to the right patient at the right time, at the right dose, and the right route. You're continuously making decisions for the patient's safety. You're admitting and receiving and discharging patients throughout the day, always thinking about how you're prioritizing your care. You're answering phone calls all day from other staff members, doctors, whoever. They're just calling you. You are the primary nurse for that patient for that day. You're dealing with over-involved families. That can be a whole new video for that. The number 1 thing that I think that us nurses overlook is how much verbal and physical abuse that we take on a daily basis. Not just from workplace violence, but from also patients and their families. Now, as charge nurses, we deal with all 24 patients' safety. When one of your nurses are overwhelmed, you as a charge is overwhelmed as well. As charge, you hear and deal with complaints the whole day pretty much. Complaints not only from staff members but from patients as well. I think as charge, you are critically thinking more because you're not at bedside. You're expected to expedite discharges at a reasonable time. You're also participating in a lot more involved initiatives as a unit and in other committees. At the end of the day, we are mentally exhausted. Number 3, nursing is emotionally disturbing. From a medical surgical standpoint, we deal with all kinds of patients. So what makes us different from the other floors is that we don't specialize in anything. When you're on a medicine floor, you have a medicine issue, and whether it's GI, cardiac, or whatever, we deal with all of the systems. One thing that I think we nurses also tend to forget is that every patient has a story. Some are homeless with no families. Some were physically and mentally abused back in the day. Some just come from broken families. And every day we deal with traumatic and emotional and sometimes unethical issues, situations that just can be traumatic to a nurse. Some of these issues could be loss of a patient, verbal and physical abuse, IV drug users, alcoholics, people with advanced dementia. And there are so much more, and these are just to name a few. Certain situations that can be traumatic, it can cause you to question your drive, your determination, that natural caring ability. And instead, we try to replace it with disbelief or lingering guilt. It is natural for us nurses to blame ourselves if a patient is not happy or if a patient is not satisfied with our care. But as nurses also have to remember that we are also human. We are not perfect, and we cannot make everyone happy. Now, number 4. Nursing is time consuming. As stated before, nursing 12-hour shifts can easily turn into 14 to 15 hours depending on your commute and depending on how the day went. Some people will have to work special occasions and specific holidays. There will be times when you miss that special day that you just wanted to take off. Let's just say you come home from 12-hour shifts. It really is difficult to get anything done after. You come in for your shift at 7 o'clock in the morning. Some people come in at 6:30. Try to get ahead of the day. Sometimes you may not even leave your shift until 8 o'clock at night, so it gets really difficult to do anything after 8 o'clock. Depending on how your day went, if you had a code or if you had to rapid response a patient, sometimes you're there till 9 o'clock. Even then, let's just say you got home on time. You got off at 7:30, you got home at 8. You are physically exhausted that you cannot do anything else but just lay down and sleep. I personally do not have any children or a husband to tend for, so I am really truly amazed of some of the nurses that I work with and that I know have families at home who are still managing their time, and they are able to take care and do their motherly duties. And I just call them superwomen. Despite of all the negativity and what I wish I knew before I signed up, I still think that nursing is the most rewarding profession. If people ask me now that I know what nursing is like, would have I chosen any other profession? Definitely not. I would not replace my experiences for the world. Nursing has made me become who I am now. I'm smarter, stronger, faster, more driven. Not just with nursing, but with life in general. I met some of the most wonderful people and listened to their stories that are beyond memorable. The day gets rough, you just have to sit down and remind yourself what nursing is. This concludes what nursing school did not warn me about. Currently in progress, I'm making progress on writing an article on how to manage your time. So I think which also relates to what this whole video was about. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or any comments, please provide them below. And try to visit my blog. It's www.dlmjourney.com for more articles and for helpful tips.